Hey, welcome to Sipper Social Club. I'm Jeremy, and today I have a Springbank tasting set. This one I got from Springbank Society. It includes a bunch of 2021 Springbank releases. Let's see what we got. We have the standard 10-year-old. We have the 10-year-old Local Barley. So this one, super hyped. Lots of buzz on the whiskey world because of its color. 100% sherry casks. This one going in auction for extremely large costs. I'll put it right here where the current auction price for this bottle is. Absolutely out of control. So super excited to try that. Also, the new batch, I think 22, the 12-year-old Cask strength. We have the 15-year-old standard release and the Springbank 25-year-old. Super excited to get into these. I do not believe the Springbank has released a 18 or a 21 so far in 2021. Correct me in the comments down below if that's incorrect, but I don't think they've released it as of yet. I'm going to do this in kind of a strategic way. I'm going to start with just the base 10-year-old standard release. That's going to be kind of like my palate cleanser, my kind of warm-up. I haven't had any spirits so far today. Then I'm going to jump to the 25-year-old because I think that one needs more of a fresher palate before I get into the Local Barley, which is Cask strength, and the 12-year-old, which is Cask strength. So let's start right here with the 10-year-old. As you guys know, in 2019, I named the Springbank 10-year-old my whiskey of the year. 2019 was a great year for Springbank. They released so much good stuff. I think every single thing in their core range was great that year. So let's see how this one is. So again, that like real freshness, maybe like a little bit of like citrus on the nose for sure. You definitely get the funk. Definitely that like dungy, dirty, dank style of peat, that Campbelltown making itself known for sure in this. Lots of like sweetness, maybe like a little bit of honey sweetness in this. The vanillas for sure. Lots of maltiness. Definitely, I think in this 10-year-old you get more malty characteristic than I remember in previous ones. Yeah, this one definitely has a lot of malt characteristic. Maybe even too much for my enjoyment right now. Really coming through, really heavy on the cereal, the graininess. The sweetness is balancing out a little bit, but I think that balance may be a little bit off with that malty characteristic on this. Let's go back for another sip. Yeah, I mean, for this I'm getting like nice like lemon notes, some honey sweetness, vanilla for sure, and definitely some maltiness. Definitely like a decent amount of malt in this for sure. I think score-wise for me on this one, didn't enjoy it as much as previous 10-year-olds. I think, I'm not sure what the makeup of this one is. Springbank kind of switches it up year to year as far as how much sherry cask, how much ex-bourbon they're using. But score-wise for me, this one, I'm going 85 out of 100 on the 10-year-old. Let's move on to the Springbank 25. All right, so for the Springbank 25, this one is made up of 70% sherry cask, 15% ex-bourbon, and 15% rum. Only 1,400 bottles were released of this. I think Springbank Society runs through Kensington Wine Market in Alberta, and they didn't even offer a purchase for the 25-year-old. They just kind of divvied it up into these tasting packs. I think they probably only got a couple bottles just because 1,400, very low release. So on the nose, lots of like delicate flavors in this one. Getting a nice little floral kind of note to it, like a rose petal potpourri kind of note. Definitely some coastal elements in this one as well. Definitely some sweetness. The vanilla is definitely very sweet in this one. Contrasting to the 10-year-old where I had that like kind of like danky Campbelltown peat, this one's very kind of subtle, very subtle peat. And then the fruit. The fruit comes in, dry red fruits, plums and figs for sure. But all very subtle, very kind of elegant, very laid back, delicate nose. Let's go palate. Man, so nice on the palate. So the peat hugely amplified on the palate, on the nose. Not too much of that Campbelltown funk on the palate and the finish. Cranked right up. Really nice. Getting kind of like a nuttiness, probably from that sherry cask, kind of like a hazelnut, walnut combo. Yeah, just excellent. The Springbank 25-year-old, really good in 2019. Maybe took a step back a little bit in 2020. But this one, I don't know if this one's going to be the 2019, in my opinion. I don't think it is on the first couple sips so far. So good. So nice. I'm going to hold off scoring this one for now. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to let that last little sip there sit, move on to some other ones, and then come back. All right, so moving along, I'm going to pick next. I'm going to go with the Springbank 10-year-old Local Barley. So like I said before, this one, I mean, I think that people are too hung up on color of Scotch nowadays. It doesn't seem kind of justified as far as what people are putting value onto a bottle just because of the color of the whiskey. At least its natural color. The worst thing ever is when someone boasts about a color of a whiskey when it's been artificially colored. But yeah, Springbank, 100% sherry cask into this Local Barley 10-year-old. This one is bottled at 55.6% ABV. Oh, that nose is so good. So this one definitely got that like wild strawberry, wild raspberry kind of note to it, where it's kind of like that dirty, heavy strawberry note and raspberry note. Really nice amount of that Campbelltown funky kind of peat in here. Maybe getting just a tad of like tobacco kind of note, like cigar tobacco. I mean, a little bit of like leather notes in here. Nice complexity to this nose for sure. Again, that fruit, it's very, very heavy fruit. Jam-like quality to it. Yeah, this is a delicious nose. Very, very good. Let's go palate. Yes, very, very heavy on the palate, and especially the finish. It's very heavy on the finish as far as those fruit notes. Lots of raspberry jam, lots of peatiness, a little bit of like coastal elements, some mineral aspect to it, which I usually get with Springbank. There's a little bit of like mineral kind of note. This is really nice. This is very delicious. And then the chocolate, that second sip there, chocolate on the finish, milk and dark chocolate, both on the finish there. And again, maybe some nuttiness, maybe some more hazelnut coming through this as well. This is very, very nice. I know like a couple of the early reviews came out, and I don't know if they were like necessarily disappointed, but weren't like blown away with it. I'm not saying this is blowing me away, but I'm saying this is very, very nice. Very, very good. It's so hard to score on the first couple of sips. So take all these scores with a grain of salt. Usually when I'm doing reviews, I'm trying a whiskey, at least 3 to 8 times before I record, before I score it, and on different occasions, of course. I'm going to hold off on scoring that one as well. I have to go back to it for sure. All right, let's move on to another highly anticipated release, the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength. So this one is batch 22, coming in at 55.4% ABV. It is a even split of 50% ex-bourbon, 50% sherry casks. Let's see how it is on the nose. So again, very nice and sweet, a little Campbelltown funk in it. Not too much though. As far as the peatiness in this, pretty relaxed, I'd say. Nice lemons, nice fruitiness. So the fruit on this one, you get a little bit of berryness in there, a little bit of berries, but not like that like grungy strawberry, that grungy raspberry that I was getting in the Local Barley. Maybe a little bit of honey in there, a little bit of maltiness. Let's try palate. Oh, that's really nice. That's very nice on the palate. So I'd say this 12-year-old is kind of more delicate than other 12-year-olds I've had previously. I think this one is very, very well balanced. It doesn't attack your palate like previous 12-year-old cask strengths have. It's very mellow. considering well, its predecessors for sure. Comparing other 12s, this one is probably one of the mellowest ones I've had. But it just drinks very nice and elegant. Very, very good. I mean, a Springbank 12-year-old cask strength that drinks, you know, dare I say it, smooth. Crazy. Really good. Yeah, this is very, very nice. Very nice indeed. So now, maybe a little bit of baked goods on the finish, like cookies, cake. Lots of layers to this 12-year-old for sure. Very well balanced, indeed. I mean, you know, being spoiled right now with the these whiskeys are so nice. All right, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go to the 15-year-old, try it quickly, and then we're right back to these hitters and score them up. So, the Springbank 15-year-old, kind of one that is hit or miss. Different years yield, you know, a range of scores, I think, from most reviewers. Sometimes you're getting a 15-year-old that's great. Sometimes it kind of misses. I've had some that have been amazing, and I've had some that, you know, I don't go back to the bottle. You know, they're just okay. So this one, lots of fresh fruit. I would say apples and pears, orchard kind of fruits for sure on the nose. Not so much of that Campbelltown peat. Don't get so much of that funkiness here. Very, very fresh nose, very fresh, like underripe apple, underripe pear. Let's go palate. That's very nice on the palate. So again, those notes carry over. It's very much like an underripe pear. That note carries over and is very, very good. The apple comes through again. I don't know what the percentage is as far as casks on this one. But again, with those pear notes and those apple notes, you know, I would probably lean more heavily on the ex-bourbon, but maybe a tad of sherry influence in this, maybe a little bit of red fruit. But mostly I'm getting that like white fruit, apple, pear throughout. Maltiness in this one too. Really good. So, disclaimer, I'm assuming that these are all 2021 releases. I can't guarantee that the 10-year-old and the 15-year-old are 2021 releases. I know that the 25 is because it was mentioned. And of course, the 12 and the 10 Local Barley are because we know the ABVs. I'm assuming these are 2021s, but I can't guarantee that. This 15 is really nice. Yeah, so the 15-year-old, subtle, nice orchard fruit, not so much on the funkiness, but overall well-balanced, really good. Score-wise for me on this 15, I'm going to go 87 out of 100. So I've scored 2 out of the 5. I need to revisit. I'm going to do that really quick. I'll come back and I'll score them all. I'll let you know what I think. All right, going back to this 25-year-old. Now on the nose, I'm getting a lot of coffee bean and cocoa powder. Something I wasn't getting before, and it's just very, very good. Unbelievably good. This definitely has some time to open up. I mean, I poured all these and let them sit, of course, but sometimes they need to sit for even more time. And now my palate, you know, a little more acclimated to drinking, my nose a little more acclimated, I'm picking up more stuff. Yeah, that like kind of like dark coffee with cocoa powder on the nose on this. Man, that's so good. So again, 70% sherry cask on the 25-year-old, which is more sherry influence than a few previous releases. And at only 1,400 bottles, I mean, this thing's going to be super sought after. So nice. So good. So I think this one is not going to beat the 2019 25-year-old, which I think I scored... I forget what I scored it. I'll put it here. I'm going to score this one. I think I scored it 91 or 92. This one for me is going to be an 89.5. It's not going to touch that 90. So I think that this one, it is very, very nice, of course. But not coming close to that that 2019 score, because that 25-year-old was so nice. That was the one. If you're gonna fork out the money for a Springbank 25, look for the 2019. So the only way you can tell on the standard release, the core range expressions, is you have to turn the bottle around, look at the barcode, and it will say the first two letters should be the date. So if it's 19, that's 2019. 21, obviously 2021. All right, so we got 89.5 out of 100. I scored this one 87, right? Let's go to the Springbank 12-year-old. Yeah, this one is so nice. Like I said, very easy drinking 12-year-old. It's not that, that complex whiskey that, maybe only a whiskey connoisseur would like. This one, I think everyone would enjoy this one. That's really good. That's really nice. So, score-wise for me on this 12-year-old, 88.5 out of 100. Really do like that 12-year-old a lot. Very, very nice. I think if you look back at my other scores for 12-year-olds, this is right on par with it. Probably right up there as far as most enjoyable 12-year-old. But it's different. It is different. But really good. All right. Lastly, this 12-year-old Local Barley. 10-year-old Local Barley. Yeah. This is in my wheelhouse, man, because this is the hardcore Springbank. This is what, you think of Springbank as that dirty, grimy, funky peatiness, and this is it. This is it. This is the, that really good heavy berry note with that Campbelltown funk just meshed together. It's got a lot of grimy notes to it. It's dirty. That Campbelltown funk is in full effect. It works well with the berry notes. Maybe a little bit of chocolate in there. I think they did a good job with this one for sure. Yeah, so this one for me, this is a 90.5 out of 100. So there you go. There are all the scores. Definitely the Local Barley was my favorite because it had that hardcoreness about it. That's what I like. I think a lot of Springbank fans would like that about Springbank, that it's got this dungy, grimy, hardcore aspect about it, and it really does work well. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments down below, have you tried any of the newer Springbank lineup from 2021? Of course, some of these are just going to be super hard to find. Springbank essentially now is in a spot where it's so sought after and prices are getting just out of control that they're pricing the secondary market, and the availability is limiting a lot of the fans, which is unfortunate. But it's this thing about distilleries where it's they get super popular, but can they produce more whiskey without compromising their quality? It's a very fine line, I think, that a lot of distilleries kind of walk, where it's we could sell, we sell out everything. Can we produce more without jeopardizing quality and integrity? I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I feel like it's tough for a distillery to do that. But let me know in the comments down below. What have you tried? What do you like? Do you agree with my scores or not? Let me know in the comments down below. I think this 10 Local Barley is excellent stuff. I know a lot of people were kind of, thought it was good, but not mind-blowing. I'm kind of in the same thing. I think it's great. I think it's actually probably better than what most people were saying that it was. But yeah, secondary price, I mean, good luck. Shout out to Phil at Whiskey Mystery. He sent me a sample, me and Rob, a sample of this Local Barley 10-year-old. Unfortunately, one sample didn't make it. I don't know what happened with the post office. They labeled it wrong or something happened. But Rob got a sample. Mine was sent around the globe and I think got returned to him. But anyway, luckily that I did get one of these tasting sets to try this Join me for my next review, which will be a Springbank Society bottling. If you pay attention to the channel, I did a video on an unboxing where I had a bunch of stuff, including this tasting set. And the most upvoted request for reviews out of all the bottles that I unpacked that day was the 8-year-old, which is fresh sherry casks. So take a look for that. Here's the bottle. So that will be my next review, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed before, this is your first time on the channel, hit the subscribe button and you can find your way back to this channel for more content just like this. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Very much appreciated. Have a good one.